Shabbat Shalom. So I was sitting with a friend in a cafe yesterday, and I had my phone out on the table, and at a certain point I noticed that there was just a little bit of green powder and then a little more green powder on the phone. And then I realized, oh, that's pollen. And how did I realize that this was pollen that was just accumulating on my phone? That suddenly I had to reach for, where did I have a Kleenex? And then I'm sneezing and I'm wondering, really always with this great sense of joy of the spring, do I always need to feel it this acutely with suffering? Like, really, are these going to have to go hand in hand? And this is when I actually said to myself, I'm going to change a tradition that I've had in my life since going to rabbinical school. I'm going to change this tradition around counting the Omer. So for those of you who don't know what the Omer is this time of counting from the second day of Passover through all the way to Shavuot, from the time that we mark the festival of our freedom to the time that we welcome in the festival of receiving Torah. We actually count 49 days. And every day that I have been counting this way since rabbinical school, I've been counting La Omer, saying to the Omer, like tonight I am going to count to the Omer. But there's another tradition that says I'm going to count in the Omer, Ba Omer. That actually, instead of trying to count up the days and looking forward to what's coming, you actually count the days and just rejoice in what is. And I decided there, seeing the pollen on my phone, holding my Kleenex with a runny nose, I was just going to savor these moments. I was going to be in the moment, not thinking about what could be, but thinking about what is, holding the joy of spring with the suffering of the allergies, and that actually that's what life could be, and I'm going to be in it. And I think Shabbat is this time of us realizing, oh, there's great joy in it. There's great joy in being able to take some time just with ourselves, to be at our homes and tuning in. Sorry about the camera angle. By the way, great job on the camera angle. I'm not, no judgment here. I just happened to see that I stepped out of my range. Let me step back into my range. Sorry. And I'm going to be just here on Shabbat, at home tuning in, here in the sanctuary, all of us together. Wherever it is, we get to just pause and be. So I invite you to do this, even with masks on if you have them on, even with a Kleenex next to you if you have been having to sneeze as much as I have. Take a deep breath if you can. And just be here. Maybe another one for good measure. And in this way, we welcome in Shabbat. We welcome in this time with light. And so, Cohen family, you have what to bring light in for. Ezra is about to become a bar mitzvah, and we couldn't be more excited as a whole community, and certainly this family, this row, has an extra measure of excitement. So would you please come to the bima now to light these candles? The blessing is found on page 120. How great is it that you get to do this kind of lighting celebrate this incredible simcha in a time of counting the Omer and the opening of spring.
Asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Beautiful job. Just right there. And
So
now
when Ezra,
you abandon him on the bima.
we'll invite you to come to the middle of the bima here.
Here, sweetie.
As we turn to page 123, in body, in spirit, we rise. As Ezra leads us in the Kiddush, in the Kiddush for Friday night.
I got you, okay? Ready?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzitaranu v'shabbat kadsho b'chayhavatu himchayanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit. Ki hum yom techila l'mircha yehodesh zechefet zethiyah Yisrael ki vanu v'charta v'tanu ki daracha mikol hamim zeshabat kat kodeshacha Ba'avat uvratzon hicharfanu Baruch Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
You don't want that, do you? Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha.
If you're standing, please be seated. We turn now to page 138 as we find the words there of Lecha Dodi, this beautiful ancient piyut, this way in which the Kabbalists said, let's welcome in this time with joy, with excitement, being able even to imagine that God's going to enter our space and we'll be as excited as we would a new bride. And so in that way, we sing tonight some verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And on that 9th and final verse, we stand and turn toward the entrances of our homes and of our sanctuary. And some of us even bow to that presence as we imagine it entering our midst.
Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat yekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad ishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki makor habracha merosh mikadem nesucha sof maaseh b'machashava techila. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri ki va'orech u'mi'ori כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha uvtzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi. Kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikabela.
Page 146. We remain standing, if we were.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 try that. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Leolam vaed, leolam, 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 leolam vaed. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie.
Together on page 148, as we mark the change in time. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma poteach sha'arim, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים, במשמרותיכם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, כולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
We take in wisdom and wonder that God gives us through the Torah, through this beautiful world, and through love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. God bless me and please be seated. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'ayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha b'veitecha ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Ayana Davis, we are very, very excited to welcome you on the Bima.
You're coming up here with me. Oh my gosh, Ayana, hello. Can I give you a quick hug? Hi. Yay. It is so exciting and so extraordinary to finally be up here with you at this moment. It would be so easy for me to tell all of you about what an extraordinary scholar Ayana is. That she brought to this process of becoming Jewish, she brought with her the most powerful mind, the most incredible curiosity, the ability to ask the best questions that I often didn't have an answer to or had to say, like, let me do some research and get back to you. No, it was really welcomed learning for me too. And just what an extraordinary reader you are, and how it makes a lot of sense that you now work at a library, and you can approach this with the entirety of yourself. So it'd be easy to go on and on about, how much Ayana read and how much she knows. But I really want to talk tonight about your spirit, and the extraordinary spirit that you brought to this process. The way that you emanate just this natural connection to everything that is holy and divine. The way that you always sparkle a little bit, sometimes because you just have the best eye makeup, but also it's your personality. And really the way that you express care, that whenever you're interacting with a person, you ask them, how are you? Are you okay? What's going on with you? And it's just been really such a joy to be with you as you become Jewish. You chose the name Tikva, which means hope. And that is just the perfect name, not because I think this process has filled you with hope, but because it fills all of us with hope, that somebody with as much kindness and as much depth as you would choose to become Jewish. We really, really are truly lucky to call you a Jewish person and lucky to have all of your curiosity. And then the last thing I want to say is that not only did you choose the name Tikva for yourself, but you also really wanted to honor your parents in this journey. And so you gave them the names Levana, your mom the name Levana, which means moon, and your dad the name Har'el, which means mountain of God, as a way to honor them and say, my parents have been such an extraordinary guide for me, and I don't come into this process alone. I bring their wisdom into it as well. So I'm honored to call you Tikva bat Levana v'Har'el, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. So will you come stand in front of the ark with me? I'm going to open the ark, and I'm going to invite everybody to rise. We have an extra Torah today, just for your Hebrew naming. It fits really well. Great. Thank you, Cantor. Do you choose to enter the eternal covenant between God and the people Israel and to become a Jew of your own free will?
Yes.
Do you accept Judaism to the exclusion of all other religious faiths and practices?
Yes.
Do you pledge to bring a sense, do you pledge to continue to bring a sense of loyalty, joy, and passion to Judaism and to the Jewish people?
Yes.
Do you promise to establish a Jewish home and to participate actively in the life of the synagogue and the Jewish community?
Yes.
Do you commit to continually building a meaningful relationship with the Jewish people?
Yes.
Do you commit yourself to the ongoing pursuit of Torah and Jewish knowledge?
Yes.
Amen. Beautiful. So I'm going to invite you to come up here, and I'm going to hand you the Torah. I'm going to hold it. It's a little heavy. You're going to read the words of the Shema out loud.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
We all say Amen. And I'm going to invite my fellow clergy up to come bless Ayana with the threefold priestly benediction. And everybody, if you want to send your blessings towards Ayana and your joy and your tikva or hope, you can join us in raising your hands like this. And we're shooting blessings from our whole community towards Ayana.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and protect you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine so brightly upon you, and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Tikva, may you continue to feel lifted and supported by a grateful community, by a connection to the divine, by your whole family who lifts you from here and beyond. And may you find peace. And to that we say, Amen.
Mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov. Yehei lanu, yehei lanu, yehei lanu, u'v'chol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, yehei lanu, u'v'chol Yisrael. Please be seated. We are turning to Micha Mocha. Yay. We are on page 158. Micha Mocha, Hayli Adonai, Micha Mocha. We turn to page 162 and we sing Vishamru, which reminds us to take good care of the things that we care about, to protect them, to watch over them, and that when we do that, that they'll take care of us. So we're reminded to take care of ourselves with Vishamru on page 162.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorot לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We turn to our Amidah, our standing prayer, where we remember the stories of our ancestors. We are on page 166, and we invite you to rise in body and in spirit.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehillatech. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem L'man Shemo V'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol Atah Rab L'Hoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar. Milchamocha val givurot, umido melach, melech memit, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nemanat hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukroshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
The Pond, this is an excerpt from The Pond by Mary Oliver. Still, what I want in my life is to be willing to be dazzled, to cast aside the weight of facts, and maybe even to float a little above this difficult world. I want to believe I am looking into the white fire of a great mystery. I want to believe that the imperfections are nothing, that the light is everything, that it is more than the sum of each flawed blossom rising and fading. And I do. We take time now for our own personal reflections, our own personal prayers, whatever is on our heart or in our minds. If you're standing, when you're done, you can be seated.
ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. Lai 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 עושה שלום במרומה הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen. More than 4 of you can clap. Lai 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 lai.
Our weeks get so busy that it's easy to forget that there are people in our lives who could use an extra check-in or an extra phone call. So I think the Misha Berach, in some ways, it's a very spiritual prayer, but there's something incredibly practical about it. That we take a moment to ask ourselves, who do we know that could use a check-in? Who could use a little extra attention? Who's been having a hard week or a hard month or a really, really challenging year? So if there's somebody you're thinking of this week who you'd like to send a prayer in their direction, please feel free to share their name out loud as I pass my hand around the room. And maybe this week, as you're going about your week, you can give them a call too. We turn to Misha Berach. We are on page 371.
Misha Berach Avotenu Makor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing and let us say Misha Berach Imotenu Makor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Ezra, I'm sorry to call you out again the night before your bar mitzvah, and don't worry, you're not going to have to do anything. But I'm thinking about you in this moment because when I think about our B'nai Mitzvah kids, our 13-year-olds, it's easy to look at them, especially if we've known them for a few years or even longer, and to say, oh my gosh, you're growing so fast, and time moves so quickly. And the Omer is a ritual that we do in Judaism when we're having those moments where we feel like time is moving and things are changing so quickly. The Omer asks us to pay attention to the movement of time. It takes 49 days from Passover to Shavuot, and it says, we're going to say a blessing for the passing of time on each and every day. We're going to pay attention to time passing us by, and in paying attention, we might slow it down and notice how precious it is just a little bit. So we're going to say the blessing for the Omer tonight. We are on page
570.
570, and it is the 9th day of the Omer.
הנני מוכן ומזומן, הנני מוכן ומזומן לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת, מצוות עשה של ספירת, האומר, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קדישנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר היום 9 ימים שהם שבוע אחד ו2 ימים לעומר.
Say, today is the 9th day, which is 1 week and 2 days of the Omer.
I love a good hack. Might be a kitchen hack. It might be a little technology hack. Especially when it comes to technology. If there's a way to save the tiniest bit of time, I am jumping on it. Emma Harmon gave me the slogan that I wear proudly. Scott Gelman, saving milliseconds at a time. So proud of it. We kind of seem to be living in a time of hacks. One of my favorite websites, when I have just some extra time to surf around, is called Life Hacker. And there you can find everything. I looked on today's front page, and it was hacks about what financial documents to keep, all the way to how to get a Costco membership for cheap, to 4 clever ways to reuse an old garden hose. I don't even have a garden or a garden hose, but you'll know I read it. They were pretty good hacks. Now, our world is teaching us that there are infinite ways to do infinite things a little bit quicker, if we're only creative enough. But Judaism is not one to be hacked. Judaism, we do slowly, just like Rabbi Singer shared with us about the Omer. We do it slowly, we do it intentionally. In this week's Torah portion, we experienced Nadav and Avihu, Aaron's sons, who, I'm going to say, possibly spent a little too much time on Lifehacker. Many chapters and many more verses we've read in our Torah cycle about how to make a sacrifice to God. Even the first chapter of this week's Torah portion is 24 verses in exactly how to make an animal sacrifice, and then the detailed description of how they actually then do it. As it says, they do it according to the regulation. The chapter changes, and all of a sudden we read, Nadav and Avihu each took their fire pan. They put fire in it, laid incense on it, and before God, they offered an alien fire, a strange fire which had not been told of them to do. Guys, Nadav, Avihu, what are you doing? There were so many explicit instructions. Here's exactly how to do this, exactly how to do this ritual. And what do? They're like, ooh, fire pans, ooh, fire. I'm gonna see how this goes. And they offer up their own blessing. Now, there's so much passion in this, but they were missing part of the to-do about it, part of the community aspects, part of what is commanded of us. They tried to do it too quickly without that detailed instruction manual. One of the key parts which seems so different between the prescribed way of offering and the way that Nadab and Abihu did it was who else was around. For the proper burnt offering, we read, on the 8th day, Moses called Aaron and his sons and all of the elders of Israel. And later, they blessed all the people, and all the people saw and shouted and fell on their faces. There's a lot of community around, a lot of community involvement in what's going on. Yes, it was performed by Aaron and his sons, but it wasn't for just Aaron and his sons. It was for and with the whole community. They couldn't just offer sacrifice and be done with it. They needed to go through the whole kit and caboodle, the whole spiel, the whole Megillah, in order for it to be a legitimate offering to God. Even thousands of years ago, we couldn't hack Judaism. Nadab and Abihu paid the ultimate price for trying to do so. And I don't think that we can hack Judaism today either. Judaism is meant to be done among others, with others, and with full kavanah. This word kavanah means intention. With full intention, we do Judaism. When I speak with new conversion students, I tell them that they could read a huge stack of books on how exactly to do yoga, but they'd never truly understand how to move their body in the proper way. And I think the same is with Judaism. You could read and read and read all about how to do Judaism, how to light the Shabbat candles, how to lead the Kiddush as beautifully as Ezra did. But to be here, to be part of this, that's how we really work our Jewish muscles. I feel it's important to continually work those muscles, figure out how Judaism works, how it feels in our bodies, continually reevaluating our Judaism by trying new experiences. For example, when I work with a wedding couple, I ask them, do you want to do the circling ritual at the beginning of a wedding? Now, when I ask them this question, we have talked a lot already. This question comes after a lengthy discussion and a lot of learning. They've already read a whole book on wedding rituals, and we have discussed the rituals and its traditions. We discussed how originally it was the bride who did 7 circles around the groom. 7 recalling the days of creation. She's setting a metaphorical circle of protection around her husband. Then we add in the more modern interpretations, looking at today, how it's metaphorically showing you are the center of my world. And like a circle, I hope that our relationship is complete and unbroken. And I hope that everyone here at our wedding prays that same thing too. So then, after we've done all the learning, we've done all the reading, all the discussion, and even evaluation of that ritual, I put the ball in my wedding couple's court. I say to them, do you want to do the circling ritual before you enter the chuppah? If they say yes, great. If they say no, great. It's the process, it's the evaluation, it's the kavanah, it's the intention that's the important part. For me, it's not that final product. Nadab and Abihu, they just wanted the ritual. They didn't want to study, they didn't want to learn, they didn't want to do everything that led up to it. They came straight to the Mishkan, straight to our holy tabernacle to to do, say, the circling, they came with just the keva, the on-the-page ritual. But they did it without the kavanah, that thoughtful intention. So how do we maybe even try to hack Judaism? We could ask who's tried to ask like AI or ChatGPT any questions? I asked, how can I bring kavanah to my Jewish practice? The answer I got was, there are several ways to bring kavanah into your Jewish practice. One way is to sit for some time before beginning prayer. It's also important to be able to focus and be free from extraneous thoughts and distractions. If you're distracted, you should stop praying. Another way to ensure kavanah is to recite a blessing in Hebrew, and it goes on and on. Now that's great for prayer, but what about ritual? Well, ChatGPT definitely can't do ritual for us. It can't be part of the community of doing the ritual. ChatGPT or AI can't hack our Judaism for us. We've got to figure it out for ourselves. We have to try new Jewish experiences, try new ways of moving our Jewish muscles, new ways of engaging with our Jewish community. There are so many on-ramps to Jewish practice, and we each have the opportunity to find our own. And guess what? Your rabbis, your clergy, we're here to help you out. All you need to do is ask us. It's just as easy as ChatGPT. Shabbat Shalom. We have a lot of exciting things coming up in our Temple Sholom opportunities to move our Jewish muscle. Our first is this coming Sunday. We have a guest scholar, Judith Plaskow, who is going to lead a discussion, teach us about climate change and the Jewish question. As the Jewish community often focuses on issues of Jewish identity and continuity, we're going to look at events through the lens of their impact on the Jewish future, of what does it mean for Jews to truly confront climate change as a global crisis.
And if you haven't read any of Judith Plaskow's books or learned with her, you're in for a real treat. So if you have the time for this, make it, put it on your calendar already and be there at 11 o'clock online. You can join from home with your morning coffee. Who doesn't want to do that?
So, next? No? So, this upcoming, not this weekend, but next weekend is Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. And we have a incredibly special opportunity to meet Orly Erez-Lechovsky. You probably haven't heard who Orly Erez-Lechovsky is. That does not mean you should not be there. You should do absolutely everything you can to make it to this event, because Orly is the new head of the Israel Religious Action Center, which is an incredibly important branch of the Reform movement that fights for justice and specifically religious freedom in Israel. And Orly has both interned at the Supreme Court of Israel and stood before the Supreme Court many times as a lawyer and has had an essential role in battling gender segregation on public transportation, disqualifying racist candidates from running for parliament in Israel. Like, she's done these extraordinary things, and she's going to talk to us about everything that's going on in Israel right now. And if that is not convincing enough for you, the event is going to be catered by the restaurant Fia, which is, or maybe Faya, which is an amazing Israeli restaurant in Andersonville. So there's going to be phenomenal food and a very dynamic speaker. So please be there at 1 o'clock on Sunday, April 23rd.
And I'll just say again, that's our way of being able to celebrate as a community Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel Independence Day. And if you've been wondering, what are all these protests about? What are all the nuances to it? There's nobody better to help us understand that than Orly. And the other piece of it is that it's going to be a really beautiful close to a year where we've been trying to really get at all the nuances with our relationship with Israel. And we'll have many, many more years to come to be able to wrestle with that. And what a treat to be able to have Orly with us on that Sunday, 1 o'clock, a week from this Sunday. Join us here. You can also join us online if you need to. It'll be mixed presence, but we want to see you here because we want to snack with you. And we're also going to, this Monday at April 17th online at 7 o'clock, we're going to be viewing the film My Mexican Shiva and then be able to discuss it together. So please join us for that. It should be a really enlightening evening.
Leading up to Yom HaAtzmaut, we have a special Shabbat next week, beginning with Tat Shabbat at 5 p.m. right here, dancing, tons of fun, especially Yom HaAtzmaut. And there is a dinner afterwards with a kosher option available, but you have to register by April 19th if you plan to stay for dinner. And then right afterwards is our Shabbat Mishpacha, our 4th and 5th grade service. So we're going to celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut. We're going to celebrate Shabbat with a lot of wonderful people.
And Makom, next Friday night, our 20s and 30s group, we have a very, very serious event coming up called Bob Ross Shabbat. So if you're in your 20s or 30s, you may know who Bob Ross is. He was a painter who was very central to PBS. And we're going to have...
Does he look like Owen Wilson?
Yes. Do you think he does?
No, but I just know that in the film they're, playing a little bit with
That's true.
Bob Ross.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, we're going to have watercolor painting, Thai food, gin and tonics, decorate your own cupcakes, possibly an ice cream bar, a beautiful and meaningful prayer service. We're going to paint with our voices. It's going to be a great night. So you should come.
If you're in your 20s and 30s.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rabbi Singer, will you join me? Thanks. We're all going to turn to page 586 at the bottom of the page for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Please rise in body and in spirit. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'atit gdula li'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Our memories, they build a special bridge when we and our loved ones have to part. They help us feel like we're still with them, soothing a grieving heart. Our memories span the years we shared, preserving ties that bind. They build a special bridge of love and bring us peace of mind. On this Shabbat, our Temple Sholom family is thinking about those Karen Reeser, Ira Levinson, Sandy Schwartz, Yehuda Moradi, Sari Smith, Theodore Goldberg, and Alfred Gorgie, who passed away this week and whose funeral will be Monday. And those whose yard sites are observed in this week now ending: Jan Albers, Dora Arnov, Danny Bailey, Roland Baratz, Barbara Bernstein, Max Borden, Florence Browdy, Morty Cohen, Beth Cohen, Werner Stock, Edward Cohen, Reva Cohen, Joseph Didio, Beatrice Grossfeld, Joan Elegant, Rose Fadum, Patricia Raisin, Sylvia Fisher, Marine Jean Gaskins, Harold Ginsberg, Jean Golub, Ida G. Goodman, Dorothy Hartsberg, Muriel Heffernan, Irving Sapkin, Sonia Katzman, Scott Kim, Dr. Joseph Lane, Marianne Leidekin, Dora Miller, Sally Pardo, Robert Perloff, William Pillay, Chester Rachinsky, Lillian Rosenberg, Jesus Ruiz, Sydney Schnitz, Bernice Spielman, and Evelyn Stoll. And for all those and the ones who we hold in our hearts, I invite, if you have anyone you're holding in your heart, to share their name aloud with our community. Together we rise on page 598 for Kaddish Yatom.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach v'yirateh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon v'yomachon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shemei d'kudusha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
We may be seated.
Rabbi Gilman, can I invite you to invite up a very special rabbi who's with us, and maybe even a sibling of our great Rabbi Singer who's here. So if Jenny and Rabbi Singer, Beth Singer, would join us on the bima for our closing song, we would love that. We welcome you back onto the bima. It's been so wonderful praying with you tonight.
And you can sing with me. Yeah. La 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 la
Join for Oneg Shabbat in Bettyport Hall. Come join us, come schmooze, and I hope you all have a Shabbat Shalom.